Good morning. We're ready to call the board meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, June 24th, 2026, and it is 10:05 a.m. Mr. Cicchetti, if you would please call the roll.
Good morning, everyone. Chair Lieber,
Here.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Here.
Member Vasquez,
Present.
Member Schaefer,
Here.
Deputy Controller Emron.
Here.
Thank you, members. The quorum is present, and the board meeting is called to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, led by Mr. Schaefer. Please stand. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll go now to members' opening remarks, if any. Vice Chair.
Not at this.
At this particular moment, Mr. Vasquez.
Good morning, and thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to just highlight a couple important observances this month. First, recognizing Juneteenth. You know, many of us celebrated this last weekend, which happens June 19th each year to celebrate the end of slavery in our nation, and providing time for reflection on the value of peoples and groups and the importance of the contributions to our state and our nation. All U.S. states and districts of Columbia have formally recognized this holiday in some way. Next, I wanted to note the Immigrant Heritage Month celebrated in the month of June, which highlights the significant impact of immigrants have had in shaping America's culture, economy, and society, and the diverse contributions and crucial role that they have played in our history. My district, LA County, is the home to nearly 10 million residents, and about 1/3 are immigrants, making it one of the most culturally diverse counties in the nation. In a similar light, Caribbean American Heritage Month is celebrated annually in June to celebrate the many achievements and contributions of Americans who trace their ancestry to the Caribbean nations, including Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Haiti, Trinidad, and several others, as well as our U.S. territories, Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. There are almost 70,000 Caribbean Americans in California, and 2/3 of them are residents of LA County. And lastly, I'd like to bring attention to the National Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Month. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, is a mental health problem that can impact some people after experiencing or witnessing a life-threatening event. Help is available for anyone who may be experiencing PTSD, including veterans. The National Center for PTSD website at ptsd.va.gov includes helpful information for those experiencing PTSD and their families and friends. The 988 National Suicide Crisis Lifeline at 988lifeline.org provides confidential support to support people in suicidal crisis or emotional distress 24 hours a day, 7 days a week across the U.S., and help's available via call or text online chat. Veterans and their loved ones can call 988 and press 1 or text 838255 or chat online to receive 24/7 confidential support. So just wanted to put that out there for folks, and thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to mention just a couple of things, if I could. The World Cup, hasn't that been exciting? I didn't think I'd be that interested, and then I started watching, and Just incredible. My brother had a chance to go down and see a game in LA and in your district, Tony. And he just really enjoyed it. And it was encouraging to hear a lot of the comments from people visiting the country for the World Cup and recognizing what a great country we have. It has flaws, and we need to work on those flaws. And I think we historically have done that. And that's the greatness of a democratic republic. And that then leads me to our birthday coming up, the 250th celebration of America coming up, and just very excited about that, and opportunity for us to recognize the founding of this nation and the great things that have happened. And then finally, I did attend our El Dorado County Fair, and that was just great. The weather cooperated. It was for 4 days, and they have these wheelbarrow races, and it sounds really odd, but it goes back like 87 years. And John Studebaker's from Placerville, and I don't know if you remember the Studebaker car, but that's the same individual, and he invented these wheelbarrows for the miners, and so they use those on the dirt track, and they create an obstacle course, and the wheelbarrow weighs 45 pounds, and then you have to put 50 pounds of iron ore. It's really sand. And then you go through this obstacle, you go over logs, and you go over 12 inches of planks, and you go over railroad ties, you go over hills and tunnels, and then you go through a pond, and you have to end up at the finish line still with your 50 pounds of sand. And if you fall short on the sand count, because they weigh it, you're out of the race. So one of my constituents won the race for the 5th time in a row. They had a great livestock auction and a great sense of community. So it's nice to have things like that bring people together. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, when I get up at 5:30 in the morning to be here at 10 o'clock in the morning, it's very important for me to say hello to California for brief remarks here. And if I talk too long or inappropriately, I'm sure the chair would raise a finger because we police each other, as you know. I'm very excited today to come up with a birthday like I always do. Today is the birthday of Claudia Sheinbein, the president of Mexico, and Mexico abuts my district down in San Diego, so I think I can recognize Claudia, who is the first woman president. She's 64 today. The second interesting thing today is Juneteenth. Juneteenth was celebrated on the 19th of June, and it was only declared in the federal law by President Biden in 2021. It's been recently. It's national, but it's not celebrated by every state. Mississippi, for example, does not celebrate Juneteenth, and if you're a state employee in Mississippi, you are working on Friday. There's been many legislative proposals. It's a Republican legislature there, trying to bring it into celebrating, but they have so far failed, so they're making an effort to celebrate June 19th, which is good. I also want to mention that I looking online as to remarks for the Board of Equalization, and I found a AI-created remarks, and I've given each of you a copy of it. In case you're speechless, you've got something to fall back on. And I want to thank each of you for your patience. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Mr. Emron.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning to all the board members and the executive director and members of the public. What an honor it is. We are halfway through the year, and we are certainly rolling. So on behalf of our great state controller, just want to say welcome. And we have so many amazing things happening in the state, but we also have some serious moments that we have to meet. And I'm speaking about yesterday up in Butte County at a library in Chico, place of learning, a place of knowledge, a place of peace. was rocked by gun violence, and 2 people were killed. And it's very, very sad, and I want to memorialize their name: Robert Johnson, 74 years old, and Jacob Hull, 46 years old, of Chico. I want to also thank the first responders, the police, the fire, the EMT, who made an arrest. And I do not want to say his name for the record, but I do hope that he is prosecuted to the fullest extent of this law, because there's nowhere in California that should be filled with violence, especially in a place so peaceful like the library, where I really, really grew up. And that leads into my comments about June being Gun Violence Awareness Month, and it certainly is a call to action, and it's gonna always remain a call to action to make sure that all our children, our adults, our seniors are safe from gun violence, because as a nation, we have to come together to remember those we've lost, to honor survivors, and recommit to the work of keeping people safe, because gun violence certainly remains the #1 cause of death for our children. And then also, I want to thank our controller at our franchise tax board meeting on Monday. In Kern County, last Monday, there's a B-52 bomber that went down in a crash accident right outside of Bakersfield. All 8 people were killed on board. And I want to take a moment to remember their names, because how many countless times they've flown before, how many quiet missions they've gone without us even recognizing, but they're keeping our country safe. Camp Edwards has released their names, and I want to speak each one of them into the record. We have Colonel Gregory Watson, 53 years old, Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Estrella, retired Lieutenant Colonel Miles Middleton, Major Alexander Davis, Major Robert D., Major Brad Hovey, and Jeremy Smith, 32, and Christopher Richard, 41. 3 of them were from California, homegrown, and served in our military and wanted to do the right thing. So they were our neighbors. They're part of a combined task force, active duty service members, civilians, and contractors who work side by side, as they did every day, on things that we rarely ever talk about or even see. Their families are grieving, their colleagues at Camp Edwards are grieving, and the state grieves with them as well. So I'd just like to remember them, and may their honor and memory live on forever. And then down in Los Angeles County, there's an ongoing emergency in Boyle Heights that the controller and I are watching closely. Since June 17th, there's been a massive fire burning at the Lineage Cold Storage Warehouse. It's a 500,000 square foot facility that was holding an estimated 85 million pounds of frozen food. After more than a week, firefighters are still battling flare-ups. There's been these viral videos of people at Dodger Stadium being covered in smoke. And after more than a week, this is an ongoing issue. The building's roof has been compromised. Its walls are weakening from the volume of water being applied, and the structural situation remains serious and unpredictable. The governor has taken the right action of declaring a state of emergency for LA County. The County Board of Supervisors have ratified that emergency declaration as well. Thankfully, there's been no injuries reported, but I do want to thank and recognize the world's best LA Fire Department and all allied agencies on the ground. The state has also sent resources so that to the people of Boyle Heights, a community that has already carried more than its share, has endured smoke advisories, shelter-in-place orders, and real disruptions to their daily lives and livelihood. We see you, we stand with you, and we hope that this chapter closes soon. And then lastly, on a more happy note, the controllers started an internship program. It's the inaugural SEO Catalyst internship program. We have 3 of our best and brightest interns joining us today. I do want to say their name for the record, because public service is learned, not just studied, and we are proud to offer this experience. So we have Larry Bai, is a political student, science student at UC Santa Barbara. Larry, can you please stand? We have Natalie Williams from Northeastern University, where she studies in New York City, and Michelle Bloom from UCLA. So Larry, Natalie, and Michelle, I welcome you. I hope this summer gives you a genuine window into what state government looks like and what financial oversight means. So let's all give them a round of applause and give them a big Board of Equalization welcome. Really want to appreciate you all. Thank you for coming. Please don't hesitate. If you want a public comment, you feel free. Or you can go outside and call in on the phone line, but I really, really appreciate you. And thank you, Madam Chair. And may the World Cup continue. May all of California's glory be bestowed upon us, and also just making sure that we'll all stay safe and committed to each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Emron, for those important comments. And perhaps if you could submit the names of the service members in writing to the clerk so that we can recognize them appropriately. And if we may take that as a request for an adjournment in memory as well. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, members, we'll go on to our first order of business, and this is the safety and informational announcement presented by Ms. Cicchetti.
Morning again, everyone. First, I'd like to remind the audience to silence their cell phones and any other wireless devices. Our safety announcement. In the auditorium, the exits are located on each side of the stage at the front, with additional exits at the rear. Please take a moment to locate an exit sign and the closest exit to you in the event of an emergency. Our informational announcement. The board meeting will be live streamed to the public and posted on the BOE website. Public comments are taken on each agenda item. If there are any members of the public wishing to speak before the board on any agenda item in person, we ask that you complete and submit to the Sergeant of Arms a public comment appearance sheet located at the entrance of the auditorium. If you wish to speak before the board by telephone, please dial the phone number and access code provided on our public agenda notice and follow the instructions of the AT&T moderator. When giving public comment, please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. We also ask that all speakers in the auditorium or on the AT&T telephone line to state their names before speaking for the record. This concludes the safety and informational announcements. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll go on to public comment on matters not on the agenda. Persons who wish to address the Board of Equalization regarding items that are not on the agenda may do so under this item. Please note that the board cannot act on items not on the agenda. However, we can schedule issues raised by the public for consideration at future meetings. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. And I've been advised that we do not have any written comments, nor anyone who's submitted a speaker card in the auditorium. So we'll go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you would please let us know if there's anyone on the line who would like to comment on item 1.
Certainly. To make a comment, please press 1 followed by 0. 1 followed by 0. And we presently have no one in queue.
Thank you, moderator. We'll go on now to our consent agenda. And this is inclusive of items 2 and 3. Item 2 is board meeting minutes for the meeting of May 28th, 2026. And item 3 is 2 retirement resolutions, one for Rosemary Rose Smith and Lisa M. Renati. And members, I'd like to take a motion on the consent agenda, if I may.
I'll move it, but I have a question about the minutes, if we're able to do that now or after we motion.
Well, I'll take your motion first, if I may.
I second it, I'll ask.
You seconded? Okay, Mr. Schaefer seconds it. And members, discussion. Did you have a comment on the item 2?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, on the minutes. You know, as I was looking back, I didn't realize, I know the minutes, we do them as brief as possible, but I was wondering how come we don't, on the adjournment piece, why we don't list who we adjourned under. I mean, earlier today we heard from, these fallen soldiers, for example. We want to recognize them, and I was just wondering why we don't list it. I don't think we're doing a service to these folks. The whole thing is to acknowledge these people, and I always thought, I'm just thinking back, I wasn't even paying attention before, but like in my city council minutes, even though our minutes are abbreviated, we do list who we adjourned because we're honoring these folks, right? And it's kind of a public record.
And I believe that we have them in our transcript, but you're correct that they're not listed in the minutes. And I see our legal department up here.
Good morning, Julia Himovitz on behalf of the legal department. So traditionally our minutes reflect formal and official actions taken and the items that are called. I can't remember how long ago, Kathy can probably remember, the board decided to sort of change and restructure what was going to be included and what was not going to be included in their minutes. If it is the will of the board, you could decide to include all of the names. However, the chair is correct, they are included in the transcript, so there is a record of those things. And the minutes are really to reflect the official actions and items called by the board.
I guess my issue is like, if somebody call, I mean, people are actually request transcripts, but I think they might request minutes. And that's the only reason I thought maybe we should list them, at least in the minutes.
We can do some work on thinking about how we would do that, because I think it might be difficult to submit names first so that it would be a published item on the agenda with that person's name. But let's do a little bit of thinking about that, and we'll work out a way to achieve that.
I would also note, these meetings are publicly available on YouTube, and so somebody could also, in fact, see that, but to your point, it is not posted with the names, explicitly spelled out, other than in the transcripts.
Okay. And I remember that discussion back in the day when we decided to make it as simple as possible, but I guess I overlooked that. I didn't realize we weren't listing who we were, the adjournment, the names and honoring these people.
Well, I think we can work out a middle ground to get to that where, obviously there are things that happen that are not within the window of our agenda that it's important to recognize. And given that we only are meeting once a month, you wouldn't want to wait until, 5 weeks later to be able to do that. But we can work out a way to make that happen. Vice Chair.
I'm just wondering if you could, whoever makes the comments, if they could give their written comments at the time of the meeting, so they could make their public comments and then submit the names of the individuals that we want to recognize.
I think that's a good idea, so that we can make sure that they get accurately into the transcripts and potentially into the minutes as well. So we'll work out a pathway for that.
Just to clarify, are you referencing the comments made by the members or just all public comments?
No, just when we're recognizing someone who's passed away. That's what I was.
That's what I
Right.
was.
Yes.
Because I mean, we're honoring these folks, we're adjourning in their honor, but it's not listed. And I thought, well, I don't think we're doing it's kind of a disservice. Here we had, these poor folks that just had a little accident as they were doing a maneuver on our military, and we're not recognizing them, that's all.
Right, there's the minute you could send an extract to them from that would be nice.
That's a good insight, and so we'll work on that. And I think we
It could
can.
be just adjourning memories. Does that define it better?
That will be what it's about, is just the adjournments in memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work something out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have Mr. Schaefer.
Yes.
Do you have a comment?
I was looking at all the valuations that we approved at the last meeting. We have 5 of them that are in the billions of dollars, and we have a couple of dozen of them that are the value of my car, about $5,000. I'm flattered or maybe disturbed that a $5,000 valuation involves the debate of our staff and ourselves. I can see the ones that are in multi-billions of dollars, but I wonder if they could share with me the $4,000 and the $3,000 appraisal disputes.
Well, we will come to that. Right now, we're just on the minutes.
Yes.
And the resolution.
Well, staff
But
separately.
if this is a question about the minutes, we can take some staff commentary on that now.
Yvette Stowers, Executive Director. I did a quick scan of the minutes, and the values that you're referring to, that was just the board adopting the values that we do every May. There's no dispute, but staff does the valuation, and they present the recommended values to this board, and this board generally accepts the staff recommendations. No assessee at this time has indicated that they dispute the values, like a 5,000 or 3,000 value. But
If
it
we
is the
have a-
board's responsibility to adopt the values.
If we had values 25,000 or less, would there be any prejudice if they were just considered not requiring board approval?
No, it will be prejudiced. The board must, it's a constitutional function, that's the board's responsibility, regardless of the value. The board must look at the value as recommended by staff, and the board either accepts the recommended value or rejects. It is the board's responsibility.
If our council would allow us to, I would like to see items that are 25,000 or less be eliminated from board approval, and that the approval level be at the staff level.
I think that's, what we're hearing is that that's not possible because we have a constitutional duty to approve the valuations of all of the state assessed properties, but we'll get some input from legal.
Julia Himovitz again. So what I want to do at this time is just bring us back to the minutes, because that is the agenda item that we're discussing. And in
Yeah.
terms of what you're requesting, sir, the minutes are reflecting the votes that you took last month
Right,
on
this is a
these.
side issue I'm raising, I understand that.
Right, and so those items were presented to you prior to the meeting, and then you took a vote on them, and these minutes are just reflecting that vote. In terms of how you want to receive the information or not receive the information, that can be discussed later, but for what we're doing right now, this is just to discuss whether you agree with the reflection of what took place at that meeting in the minutes that are before you.
Sure, I'll withdraw my comments as to the item before us because they're irrelevant, but I want to plant a seed out there. If you're thinking of ways to streamline things, that's one way, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments on the minutes or the two resolutions? Okay, seeing none, we don't have any comments from the auditorium, nor any written comments, so we'll go to our AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you could please let us know if there is anyone hoping to make a comment on items 2 and 3.
Please press 1 followed by 0 if you'd like to make a comment. And we presently have no comments.
Okay, thank you. So we'll bring it back, and we have a motion from Mr. Vasquez, seconded by Mr. Schaefer, to approve the consent agenda items 2 and 3. And we'll go ahead and ask Ms. Cicchetti to please call the roll.
All righty. Chair Lieber,
Aye?
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye.
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye?
Deputy Controller Emron.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, members. The motion passes unanimously. And we'll go on to item 4, which is a special presentation. We'll first have Ms. Kathy Taylor read the first resolution of Rosemary Smith, Analyst 2. Kayla.
Well, this is a happy day for me to present a resolution that you've just adopted for Miss Rosemary Rose Smith.
I don't think your mic is on.
It is on, but
Is
I
it?
will
Oh, okay.
speak louder.
There you go.
And then Miss Smith is appearing remotely. Hi, Rose. We're glad that you're here to hear us. Honoring Rosemary Rose Smith on her retirement. Whereas Rosemary Smith, Analyst 2 in the Board Proceedings Division, will retire on September 30th, 2026, after more than 36 years of outstanding and meritorious service to the state of California and the California State Board of Equalization. And whereas Rosemary began her career with the California State Board of Equalization on April 2nd, 1990, as an office assistant in the County Assessed Properties Division, then transferred to the Board Proceedings Division, where, as a result of diligent work and demonstrated ability, she was promoted to Office Technician in 1999, Management Service Technician in 2008, Staff Services Analyst in 2009, and then Associate Government Program Analyst, now an Analyst 2, on August 2nd, 2011. And whereas during her tenure in the Board Proceedings Division as the board meeting administrative analyst, Rosemary worked enthusiastically to foster a positive image for the agency by meticulously preparing more than 500 board meeting agendas, notice to the public, preparing more than 500 board meeting minutes for permanent record, demonstrating sound judgment, maintaining a firm grasp of board policies, and utilizing a deep knowledge of grammar and wordcraft. She was widely regarded as the guardian of the rules and procedures, ensuring that every meeting and action adhered to proper protocol and standards. Her work, often behind the scenes, formed the foundation upon which the board's success and continuity were built. Whereas, in her role as a member of the Disability Advisory Committee since 2021, Rosemary played an integral part in supporting the committee's mission to advise the executive director on issues impacting employees with disabilities and to promote meaningful progress towards equitable workforce representation. Her advocacy, insight, and commitment to accessibility and inclusion have made a meaningful impact on our workplace and employees that the committee represents. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the board, do hereby extend to Rosemary Smith our sincere and grateful appreciation for her dedicated service to the California State Board of Equalization and to the state of California. Our congratulations on her well-earned retirement and our best wishes to her and her family for continued success, happiness, and good health in the years to come. Adopted today, this 24th day of June, 2026, by the State Board of Equalization.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate you being here digitally for us. Would you like to make some comments? Ms.
Is
Smith?
that question to me? I'm sorry.
Yes, please. If you'd like to make some comments, we would love to hear from you. And we are so appreciative of your long tenure at the Board of Equalization and all your service.
Thanks. It's weird being on this side.
Yes.
Used to monitoring every time and just writing the minutes, you know. Talk about timing. um, I just feel so lucky to have worked with such great people. I mean, I've had a great career, and you know, from the room full of mentors and assessment standards division where I got my start, which is now called the County Assessed Properties Division. To the excellent staff we now have in board proceedings. I mean, they really made it hard for me to leave. It was so fun sharing everything I knew with them. It was a blast. It was really hard to leave that in those last few weeks there. But I would like to thank Sherry Kinkle and the late Darlene Finger for hiring me in the first place. And the Department of Rehabilitation and the LEAP program for helping me believe that I could in fact support my family. And yeah, I don't think I could have done it without them, because I don't know if I would have even been able to get my foot in the door to figure out how to get a job. So that was awesome. And then thanks to my family for tolerating me for all those long hours for decades. My husband bringing me lunch and sometimes dinner right to my desk on pan days and board days for every single month for decades. And thanks so much to former BBD chiefs, Diane Olson and Joanne Richmond for their mentorship and their support. It was just great. And to the current chief, Kathy Taylor, for all of her support, gosh, through the most difficult times of my life. She was just great. And to the DAC team, that was really great working with the Disability Advisory Committee. That was just so much fun and gave me new purpose and drive, and it was great. And of course, to the web team and the DAT team for helping us get the pan posted on time every single time. Never missed a single one in all those years. Thank goodness. And to the media team for making the board meetings work so smoothly. Gosh, it's just, I've really been fortunate, you guys. I worked with some great people. And that's it.
Well, thank you
Hate to
so
go, but I
much.
gotta go.
And I see a big wave from our media team here. And
Media.
all of your work is so very much appreciated. And we are so thankful and wish you all the best in your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. So, Ms. Stowers, did you wish to
Yes, good morning,
make comments?
Rose. I really want to say, first of all, congratulations on your retirement. And I also want to say thank you for all your dedication, all of your service. You have been one of the stable forces when it comes to putting on these board meetings and our minutes. You guys, she's been behind the scene for decades, but she has been a force. And I want to say thank you for that. You will be missed. And your involvement with DAC, Disability Advisory Committee, has been very instrumental. Again, thank you. And your LEAP, you are a perfect example of how one can succeed through the LEAP program. So thank you for participating, and thank you for your decades of state services. You will truly be missed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stowers. Well, we'll go on now to our next resolution. Oh, excuse me, Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to thank you, Rose Smith, for everything you've done. I mean, it's hard to fathom 500 agendas. But if you think of your tenure, is it 36 years?
Yep, 36 and a
So
half.
36 years of service, that starts coming into perspective. But I just want to thank you for your dedication. You have helped us through the transition with Board of Equalization Point 2 when CDTFA took over some of the duties of the BOE. And those were difficult times because we were really operating on a skeleton crew. So thank you for being there and being consistent and helping us with that transition. And I'm just curious in terms of, do you have plans for retirement? Have you thought about what you want to do?
Um, well, the beginning is not going to be too fun. I have a few medical things to take care of, but after that, who knows?
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
Wish I
very
had a
well.
better answer.
Yeah. Okay. We'll pray for you through all that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate you and all of your great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll go on now to our next resolution, which I believe will be read by either Ms. Cicchetti or Ms. Stowers. Ms. Cicchetti? Okay, thank you.
Good morning, everyone, again. It's an honor to read this. The retirement resolution of Lisa M. Renati on her retirement. Whereas the members of the California State Board of Equalization take great pride in recognizing Lisa Renati for her distinguished career in public service and almost 4 decades of dedicated service to the state of California and its taxpayers. Whereas Ms. Renati has built an exemplary career marked by professionalism, integrity, and the steadfast commitment to effective government, earning the respect and admiration of colleagues, elected officials, and stakeholders throughout California. And whereas Ms. Renati most recently served as Chief Deputy Director of the State Board of Equalization, where she provided key leadership in the administration and daily operations of the agency, supporting the executive director and working collaboratively with the members of the board. and executive leadership team to advance the board's mission. And whereas through her thoughtful leadership and collaborative approach, Ms. Renati helped strengthen the agency's operational foundation, supported strategic planning efforts, and contributed to workforce planning and succession initiatives that help ensure the continued stability and effectiveness of the board's programs and operations. And whereas during her tenure, she played an important role in supporting the recruitment and development of executive leadership, modernizing program classifications to reflect evolving responsibilities, and improving operational processes and fostering productive relationships with partners across state government. And whereas Ms. Renati's career in tax administration and public policy, including service in several key roles, including tax and fee hearing advocate with the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, Chief of Staff to Chair and members of the Board of Equalization, Senior Tax Policy Advisor, and Principal Auditor in Orange County, overseeing one of the state's largest compliance audit programs. Whereas throughout her career, she demonstrated a deep commitment to fairness in tax administration, thoughtful policy development, and responsive service to California taxpayers, while also mentoring colleagues and helping cultivate the next generation of public sector leaders. And where Ms. Renati's dedication and collaborative leadership have helped strengthen the institutional framework of the board and contributed to building a strong and sustainable foundation for the agency's continued success in fulfilling its constitutional responsibilities. And whereas after many years of exemplary service, Ms. Renati now begins a well-earned retirement where she will have an opportunity to pursue further professional and personal interests and enjoy treasured time with family and friends. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of the California State Board of Equalization hereby commend and honor Lisa Renati for her exemplary career of public service and express their deepest appreciation for her leadership, professionalism, and lasting contributions to the state of California. Be it further resolved that the members and staff of the California State Board of Equalization extend their warmest congratulations and sincere best wishes to Ms. Renati for retirement filled with happiness, new adventures, and meaningful pursuits. And be it resolved further that although she will leave public service, the positive impact of her leadership, dedication, and commitment to the people of California will endure, and her contributions to the board and the agency she served will long be remembered. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give Ms. Renati a round of applause. And Ms. Stowers, did you want to start things off with some comments? And we'll bring up Ms. Renati also.
Yes. Thank you, Chair Lieber. Yvette Stowers, Executive Director. Ms. Renati is here. What a wonderful resolution. What can I say? So almost 4 decades. That's 40 years. So she must have started when she was 5.
Yeah, child labor, clearly.
Child labor. She's a perfect example of growing your own. What else can I say? Yes, great leader, great working partner, supporting myself as the executive director. I'm not going to say that we always agreed, but we have an open door policy and you can always speak your mind. Her retirement, Rose's retirement, and the retirement last month for Lisa Thompson is really going to see how well Ms. Renati did with succession planning.
Yes.
No pressure. She has a lot of things that she put in place, and we're still working with the stakeholders, but one that I'm really exceptionally proud about is how she really pushed to change our classifications. And it does look like it's going to go through. And she really pushed to get a higher classification for those who want to go more in the technical route within the property tax. She really pushed trying to explain to our stakeholders that, guess what? We are a tax agency and we audit businesses. For some reason, they don't think that we do that. But she's been there and pushing. So I thank you, Lisa, for that dedication and that commitment. As far as your retirement, please enjoy your time. You're always welcome back, but please enjoy your time. Spend time with your family, spend time with Jeff, and just relax. Again, thank you so very much.
Thank you. And Ms. Renati?
Thank you, Yvette. That was very kind. You know, it's an honor to stand here and reflect on what has been almost 39 years of state service, all of it beginning and ending here at the Board of Equalization. I started as a tax auditor right out of college. I had more enthusiasm than experience and a lot more confidence than I should have. Through the years, I moved up through the ranks. I became a business tax specialist. I went in and became a first-line supervisor. I was promoted to be a senior supervisor in charge of a super crew. I went on to manage the audit program in Orange County, about 100 auditors. It was a pretty big program. I then stepped into a career executive assignment position. That's as a tax policy advisor. It's a CA position. I did serve a board member as their deputy, and I was also a tax advocate hearing officer at CDTFA for a very short bit. But luckily, I had the privilege about 6.5 years ago to get appointed to this role as Chief Deputy Director overseeing the agency, the operations and the programs. And I look back and I noticed I spent 64% of my life at the BOE. It's an astonishing number. And it's not the titles or the places I've worked that I remember, but the people. And I was really lucky. I had mentors who saw the potential in me before I saw it in myself. I had leaders who pushed me and encouraged me and challenged me. They put me in rooms that I did not think I belonged in, and they trusted me with responsibilities that seemed just a lot bigger than I was ready for, but that trust changed my life. I also was lucky to be at the right time at the right place, more than once. But that only matters when you're with people that are committed to excellence, and this agency is filled with some of those brilliant people you will ever want to meet. They inspire me with their dedication to public service every day, and I look forward to coming to work because I learn something every day. And sometimes I say, oh, I just learned something, I'm going home. And of course I don't, because there's more work to be done. Along the way, I made lifelong friends, and the friends that celebrate you, and when you're succeeding, they steady you when you're having a hard time, and they remind you to laugh when things get a little bit serious. I tell Yvette all the time, we just gotta laugh about this. It's gonna be funny one day. And it is. Give it a few years, and it is funny later on. Serving this board has been a true privilege. You know, public service is not easy. You guys have thoughtful debate. You make tough decisions, and you always do what's right for the people of California. And serving this board has been one of the best chapters of my career. I've really enjoyed being part of this process. And if I have one hope, it is that I've left this agency better than when I started. That the teams are more empowered, the systems are stronger, and our culture continues to grow and adapt. I am a true believer that this board and this agency are very important to California. The work you do is important and it's enduring, and I have every confidence that you will meet the challenges ahead with continued expertise and integrity. So to everyone in this room and everyone with us here in spirit, I want to thank you for your partnership and your trust and your friendship. It has been the honor of a lifetime to serve alongside of you. And members, with that, I close this chapter with deep gratitude and tremendous pride and great optimism for what comes next. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much. And I know that we have comments from our other board members. Vice Chair, did you want to start us off?
Oh, yeah, thank you. I just really appreciate what you've done, Lisa Renati. I mean, when I think about the fact that you came over 6.5 years ago, we were in rebuilding mode. And we had to fill a lot of positions because a lot of people in the BOE went over to CDTFA. And, as I mentioned earlier, we had kind of the skeleton crew, and you would give us reports on the vacancies. Do you have an idea of how many vacancies have been filled in that 6.5 years? Because we've seen a real transition of
Well, we
employees.
filled probably 150 hiring packets, but that includes promotions. But at last count, I think when we did our last survey, we have 53 people that work here under 5 years.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
probably more than that since
Right.
it's been 7 years since we started rebuilding.
So a lot of baby boomers retiring and
And traditionalists.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And so just want to thank you for that, because that was huge, all of that. And then can you talk a little bit about the perfect audit that we got?
So every 3 years, every state agency gets audited by State Personnel Board. It was part of difficulties we had in 2017 before the agency was reorganized. And we had our last audit that we had, we scored a perfect score. Everything that they tested, we had 0 errors. And that is a testament to the hard work of the people in the agency, making sure we get all of our probation reports and performance appraisals and training and doing all of that. Our partners at CDTFA are committed to excellence and making sure they do everything correctly. And so we're the first, well, I don't know what the first, but in the last 6 years, we're the only constitutional to ever get a perfect audit. And we are also one of only 5, I think, last year, or the last 3 years that got a perfect audit. So hoping one more time it's coming. We know that audit's coming. We're hoping to get another perfect audit. Straight A students here.
Great.
at BOE.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Excellent. Mr. Vasquez.
Well, once again, I just wanted to thank you as well. I know when I first came on, and then a lot of us were forced into leadership roles at the beginning, and you were very instrumental on the staff side, along with several others, to make sure that, one, we put got our place in order. But more than anything, I think, what the vice chair was talking about, just being able to fill these vacancies, coming up here, first couple of years, everybody was talking about abolishing it. It says, well, who wants to work here, right? And you were able to recruit and bring people in, quality people, to really bring this to the next level. And like you mentioned earlier, several of them, a lot of our workforce is very young now, relatively young. And I think it's only going to grow more and more because of what you laid out, and especially being part of the whole strategic plan and working with us to make sure that was in place. So I wanted to thank you and appreciate all your time. I'm sure your husband is not real happy with us, but at the end of the day, I think he will be now that you're retiring. Thank you.
Excellent. Mr. Schaefer.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Rowdy, thank you for being with us today. You look stunning, and I just want to thank you. You were my first chief of staff when I inherited the office, and I went by the office in Santa Ana. I was moving my office to San Diego, so we had new staff, but she showed me everything. She explained that we had 2 police cars parked in front of our office. One had a rifle and one had a pistol, because we had the franchise task board upstairs dealing with bushel baskets of cash. And then when she showed me my executive office, she said, Mr. Schaefer, there's a side door here. If somebody comes in the front with guns, you're able to go out the side door. So my first thought is I should put in for hazardous pay. But I've so enjoyed seeing, I had no idea you had over 30 years' experience when I first met you, and I'm so glad you went on to the greater service as you have done. And I just want to thank you so much for being with us. I had a little comment not related to her, but putting next to each other the 2 statements. Ms. Renati has 9 whereases and 2 be it further resolves. Ms. Smith has only 5 and 1. I think Ms. Renati's would be more effective if it had 5 and 1, because if you had fewer statements, we could have larger type and it'd be easier to read and it'd be more effective. These are obviously written by different people because Ms. Renati's name is in caps and Ms. Smith's name is in lowercase. Just words of the wise. I'm always trying to make our agenda more efficient, but I am so pleased that you're here today, and again, I want to thank you that you were with my very beginning, and you know, there are people working with us, well, Miss Lee until age 100 recently, Claude Parrish at 79 down in Orange County, I'm 88, so you know that there's precedence if you want to come back at any time. Thank you.
Fantastic. Mr. Emron.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to thank you, Lisa. Both Lisas have retired in the last 2 months, so it's been a little hard. My favorite people here at the board. I just want to thank you because when I first started, you were a guiding force and a great light and telling me to keep going and stay focused. And also, you are the conscience of this board, and I really want to thank you for guiding us, for your institutional knowledge, and also for just being the biggest fan of this board when we're going through our choppy times, right? So really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy yourself in your retirement, and I do hope to catch you for lunch or coffee sooner than later. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I just want to add my note of best wishes for you. I know that you're maybe going to make a movement geographically to a very beautiful part of California. And so wishing you all the best there. And we are so thankful for your work. You have an encyclopedic knowledge of everything that happens at the BOE and have been among our best representatives. And when we go into the legislature and talk about our agency, we are talking about staff like you. And so your commitment to California has meant so much. And it really is impressive, everything that you've achieved during your tenure so far. So leave that open. And now, members, we're not going to let Ms. Renati get away without some photos with us. So we're going to recess to our 10-minute break, and we'll ask Ms. Renati to come up and be a part of our photos so we can remember this occasion. And please don't be a stranger to us. Thank you. Okay, members, we're going to reconvene now at 11:18, and we will continue with our agenda. Next up is item 5 under board member matters. This is Mr. Schaefer's item, a recommendation to return to in-person testimony. Mr. Schaefer, did you want to open on the item?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I hope you all have a chance to read the letter stating the item. All we're really doing is going back to what we were doing pre-COVID, when we held in-person meetings and the public would appear in person, or they would give us written statements. And when we get written statements, they're read into the record. They're not ignored. I know when I was on the city council of San Diego, people wrote letters to the mayor and council, and they went only to the city clerk. The mayor and council never saw them. I happened to require copies be made so I could be aware. But every written communication goes into the record here. I can't see that there's been any increased public participation because of the remote testimony. We'll have 12 items on the docket, and there'll be nobody that will call, and it will take 5 minutes or more of the meeting every session, and that's, that adds up to an hour or more for us. And with 100 people on watching and the 25 people here, it's a considerable amount of time that is really a total waste. I can see the concern of the members that the public may confuse pre-COVID with post-COVID, and may also think that the average dispute is going to go before the Board of Equalization as it used to, but their average dispute is all held at the county level right now, and we only get involved in state assessed properties and rather substantial matters which are all lawyered up to start with. If you felt maybe we should carry this over until the November agenda, so the elections will be out of the way and we won't be subject to any political criticism, but I believe in doing what's right, and I think that what we should do is we should be consistent with the California legislature, which before COVID used to have only written statements and personal statements. COVID brought in the idea of telephone participation, and COVID has come and gone. If COVID should ever come back and attack us again, of course, we can adopt new resolutions, but I think you must respect my proposal as being simply a good housekeeping matter, like the housekeeping matter of trimming our taxpayers' representation testimony from 45 minutes down to 15 minutes. I'm just trying to make us a more efficient board, and I would ask you all to support it now, or if you want to set it over to November, I could care less. I won't be here next year to squawk about it, but we plant a tree not for ourselves, but for those who come after us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Vice Chair.
I'm just curious about, I always thought that we've always gone to the operator for public comment, not just
I wasn't here,
after
but
COVID.
I wasn't here.
Haven't we always operated that way?
I wasn't here in the old days. I don't know. I take a hint from what the legislature says and what the statutes say. And the statutes say that the person has an absolute right to participate. I would think if there's anybody out there that was concerned about the idea, like I am, we'd have 10 or 20 people lined up to say, no, no, no. But, we have the same silence that we have had for years. And I just think that this is we have failed to come into the post-COVID modernization as the state legislature has.
Okay, Mr. Vasquez, did you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just a little puzzled by it because at the end of the day, I think it's our job, authority, our responsibility to take public comment. And I think whatever we can do to make it more accessible, the better. I didn't realize it until COVID hit, how many folks actually were able to get online. I remember a couple of our first meetings during COVID, especially in one of the hearings we did, we had like 100 people on the line. And it really showed to me just the accessibility, because there's just a lot of these folks, you know, especially down in San Diego, I would expect them to fly up here to testify.
If we had a handful of people on the line, I would not feel this such a waste of time, but we don't have a handful. We have one person maybe every few meetings, people who are gonna testify on resolutions and stuff. They, of course, are not part of this. We hear from the county assessor in Los Angeles and some of these people online, and that's a different thing. What I'm concerned about is the items that require us to stop what we're doing and see who's online. We did it this morning at 10:24, we did it at 10:35, and you know, we'll probably have a half a dozen. There's nobody there. There's nobody there today saying, vote no on Mr. Schaefer. There's nobody listening. That's the problem that we have. And I think when the legislature says that we had a COVID way of doing business and a post-COVID way of doing business, and we're back to the post-COVID way at the legislature, we've just never taken note that COVID is come and gone. And the biggest proof that I've got something here is the fact that this has been widely published and there's nobody, well, maybe we haven't checked. Maybe the AT&T operator will say we have 17 people online. If so, I'll be astounded.
Well, let's let Mr. Vasquez finish his comments. Mr. Vasquez?
I guess I just don't see it as a waste of time. I guess is what I'm kind of puzzled with. Because at the end of the day, whether there's anybody on the line or not on the line, I think it's a good courtesy to have. And at the end of the day, I don't look to the legislator to dictate what we should do. We're a different body, we have different authority, and we should do what we think is in the best interest of the public.
Why don't we tell the legislature what to do?
Excuse me, Mr. Schaefer. We'll have Mr. Vasquez finish his comments, if any.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not comfortable with cutting people off. At the end of the day, I think whatever we can do to encourage people, the better. Even if it means, you know, we're wasting a couple of minutes. I mean, come on. I mean, this is our job. At the end of the day, I think it's part of our responsibility and duties.
Mr. Vasquez, if they were on the line, I would feel differently, but they're not on the line. They're not on the
But why
line.
cut somebody off?
Excuse me, we can't actually have
Well, I
a
don't have a
colloquy
debate,
between two people, so we'll continue to go through the chair, if we may, and we'll let Mr. Emron make some comments, and then Vice Chair has indicated that he'd like to speak, and then we'll go to that public comment that we're hearing about.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Really appreciate the moment and the opportunity. I do want, and the controller also, just consistency across the two tax boards, the franchise tax board. Madam Chair, we're there on Monday. We allow public comment. We do receive public comment by phone. And even if we agree or disagree, I think it's important to keep that. I did want to ask the staff, though, have we evaluated whether there are technological alternatives to the current AT&T system, such as a web-based platform that can address the efficiency concerns raised by Member Schaefer while preserving public access? Mike, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're saying that we can also maybe find a way where we get a signal if there's somebody on the line rather than us going back to the line. I just want to hopefully find a middle ground here to say how we can be more efficient in this process, but also continue to preserve the public comment the way it is.
And perhaps I can shed some light on that because I've done a little bit of a medium deep dive onto this. And our current system is included in our contract with CDTFA. So we are attached to our current system right now. Now, in the future, would there be a more responsive system? I think that at the most, we use about 30 seconds to go out to the AT&T moderator on any given question. But we do spend a great deal of time in dialogue up here, where I note that we're about 30 minutes behind time right now. And we've only gone out to the AT&T moderator, I think, twice for 30 seconds per. So, so that may be something that in the future will be made available to us. And again, we'll have to work out the relationship with CDTFA, or if we would buy access on our own, it would obviously cost more money. And I'm going to go to the vice chair next, because he's in the queue. Vice Chair.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would agree with the deputy controller. I think that there's an opportunity for a compromise in terms of if we can find something that's a little bit more efficient, that still gives public access. I think that public access is critical in my view. Sometimes you have a lot of people that are also listening and they don't necessarily want to make a comment, but the more that we can technologically reach our constituents for opportunities to weigh in, whether it's on the internet or on the phone or any other opportunity here in public. But I like the idea that you are accessible by phone and by internet, given that the state is so large. And I think when we take a look at Mr. Vasquez, Member Vasquez and his district and people coming up, and I think of my district going up to the Oregon border. I just like that opportunity. If we can look at reducing the amount of time it takes, I think that's the answer. So, thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Schaefer, I'm going to be looking for a motion before we go out to public comment, if it's possible. So if you'd like to make a statement and include your motion.
Yes, all right. Maybe we could go back to what I was talking about 6 months ago, and instead of having us inquire to A&T operator, is there somebody on the line? Then the operator checks and reports back. I would like to change that and have our able staff here be in communication with the AT&T operator. If there is a call, they would advise staff by fax, or a little red light goes on, there's a call, and then staff will let us know. There's never going to be anybody on the line. What I'm concerned about is the 10 or 15 cessations in our business, even if only for, 5 minutes. So if we could have these two lovely ladies be in contact with AT&T operator without bothering us, and the minute there is somebody, she'll say, hey, we got a call. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
I would move adoption of the Schaefer proposal.
Okay, so we have a motion. Vice Chair, did you wish to comment?
Yeah, can I comment without a second? Is that?
Please.
I'm wondering if you would consider, Member Schaefer, bringing this back, giving us an opportunity to take a look at some of the technology that's available, and then also the timeline on the contract, because I think aren't we beholden to a contract with CDTFA?
Yes, and I think we're going to get some comments about that from Ms. Himovitz.
Okay.
Her right away. Ms. Himovitz.
Julia Himovitz on behalf of the Legal Department. Just a couple of items or points for you to consider in this discussion. So I want to address all the different things that have come up. One, we did do some research as far as the amount of time that it does in fact take away from the meeting. From the period of October through January, going out to public comment only, I guess, cost us 3 minutes of time per meeting on average. I would also note that in February, when we brought this up, it was a consensus of the board. There was not a motion made that you guys wanted to maintain this process. And through that, we did, as you know, and have also mentioned, we did, look at the contract. It is part of what CDTFA provides for us. I'm not sure how we would get in or out of that contract. They're a great partner of ours. I would also notice or point out that the legislature follows different rules. I believe it was Member Vasquez that pointed this out. We are under Bagley-Keene, as you guys have heard me mention many times, and as part of that, Bagley-Keene does require that for any teleconference appearance. So we do have members that appear remotely. We have to provide a similar opportunity for the public to have access to us. That's part of Bagley-Keene. So any motion that may be made today to change this process will also have an effect on how we can provide remote access to members. So I would note that we have looked into the AT&T operator process and what we could provide elsewhere. That would likely require us to give access through Teams or a Zoom platform type of thing. We don't have the ability to do that currently. I would also note that members of the public participating only on the internet will have a delay. So anything that they would want to provide comment on, they could miss their opportunity, right? Because I'm not sure the exact amount of the delay, but there is a delay on YouTube when someone is streaming. So in terms of somebody calling in and listening in, it is the most accurate way for them to hear and participate.
Okay, thank you for making those comments for us. And so currently we have a motion. Is there anyone who would like to make a second?
I'd like to just ask through the chair, would the maker of the motion be willing to pull it back? And let's see if there's any more information that could be provided at our next meeting.
I would pull it back. We are guaranteeing the public the right to give us something in writing, which I give something in writing to various bodies, and I don't know if they read it into the record, but we're very responsive as far as taking written. And you know, until COVID came along, nobody bothered with this telephone deal. And the concern I have is that the great public is ignoring us today, and they've been ignoring us ever since COVID. Maybe once a year somebody will call in. I think the legislature is much smarter than we are, and they've realized that. But I will pull back mine in case you want to put it on a renewal, maybe come up in November and see if the public
Or
wants to
perhaps
swap.
we could get more information for you. Maybe it doesn't have to come back.
I'm sorry we
Right.
don't have a citizen advocate in here speaking up for the status quo. Since we don't, and I just think that says a lot by the silence. That's what this is all about, the silence.
But
Okay.
the
So,
access is important.
If I may, we have legislators and legislative staff waiting to present to us
sorry.
as well. We have grappled with this issue before. There will not be any new information coming out in the near term, meaning this year. And what we have is compliant with our responsibilities under the law. We do operate under different laws than the legislature does. They don't have Bagley-Keene or Brown Act. They operate under LORA, the Legislative Open Records Act. And so we're in a bit of a standstill until we can hear about technology that might improve the situation. So I think Mr. Schaefer has indicated that he'll pull back and we can continue to do research. The item wouldn't come back on our next agenda, but if we find any technology that can change the situation, then we would be able to consider investing money into that. And as was mentioned, it would save an average of 3 minutes from each meeting.
Madam Chair, I'm very impressed we have two members of the legislature sitting on this body, you and Senator Gaines, and I would feel that you understand what the legislature has done by stepping down, and that was really all I was seeking.
Okay,
If we keep
excellent.
the status quo, next year when I'm out there in the public, I can call in.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can get on Teams as well. I think we offer that to emeritus members of this body.
I would rather write you a memo.
Potentially. We're not going to give up on you, Mr. Schaefer, because you are indeed a California original. And so I think we're good with the dialogue thus far. So there's not a motion now that Mr. Schaefer has kindly pulled back on that, and nor is there a second. So Ms. Himovitz, do we need to go out for public comment on this item for no action? Okay, thank you. So we won't go out for public comment. We'll just kind of stand there and keep watchful.
Point of order, I think we should know if there's anybody who's called in. I don't think there is. I mean, we should know that because that's important as to whether there is a public out there. I'm saying there isn't, and
Well, we go out for public comment when there's a motion and a second on the floor, and there is not in this case. But we're going to do an A/B test because we're now going to go on to another item, and we'll be able to see, is there anyone who wants to speak to Mr. Vasquez's item or to my item as well? And so that's going to be a good test right there. So we will keep watchful, and we'll hold on this item for right now. But thank you, Mr. Schaefer. And we'll go on now to item 6. This is a request for board support for Senate Bill 420 by Senator Padilla. I'll give you a little preview, and then we have Senator Padilla's staff joining us as well. And members, I'm bringing this forward, this item for support because I believe it is incumbent on the board to clarify that the welfare tax exemption indeed shall not include property or any portion thereof operated as a detention facility for a nonprofit entity. Members, under the California Constitution, all property is taxable unless exempted by the state constitution or the laws of the United States. The legislature may exempt from property taxation in whole or in part property used exclusively for religious, hospital, scientific, or charitable purposes and owned or held in trust by nonprofit corporation or other entities if certain criteria are met. This bill seeks to add a section to the Revenue and Taxation Code, Section 214.12, to state that for the purposes of Revenue and Taxation Code, Section 214, property used exclusively for religious, hospital, scientific, or charitable purposes shall not include property or any portion thereof operated as a detention facility by a for-profit entity. And so I'd like to go ahead and go now to Senator Padilla's staff to present to us. If you could please let us know your name, and we're very eager to hear your comments. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present SB 420 today. My name is Mithil Kalra, and I'm a legislative aide for State Senator Steve Padilla. Senator Padilla represents the 18th Senate District, which includes the communities of Chula Vista, the Coachella Valley, Imperial Beach, the Imperial Valley, National City, and San Diego. A recent investigation revealed that the Brawley Community Foundation, a nonprofit organization that owns an ICE detention facility in Imperial County, avoided paying at least $6 million in property taxes through California's welfare exemption. For years, nonprofits have been supported through the California welfare exemption for the valuable work they do to benefit local communities. Although this foundation claims to support community development, create jobs in a high unemployment region, and reduce strain on government agencies, much of its activity and revenue are connected to the Imperial Regional Detention Facility, which is operated for profit by a private prison contractor. Under the Trump administration's brutal immigration enforcement policies, this facility operates with poor conditions, solitary confinement, and inadequate medical care, which has resulted in 2 deaths in custody. Subsidizing these facilities with charitable tax exemptions at the expense of local schools and local services betrays the community that this nonprofit alleges to serve. SB 420 ensures that organizations tied to private immigration detention centers cannot claim charitable tax status and be exempted from local property taxes solely because they are organized as nonprofits. This bill protects taxpayers from subsidizing horrific ICE detention operations. SB 420 closes the loophole in California's revenue and taxation code by preventing organizations connected to immigration detention or deportation efforts from qualifying for charitable property tax exemptions in the future. I also want to thank the Board of Equalization staff for their continued assistance in drafting the language to ensure we achieve the bill's intent. Thank you for considering a support position on this important measure.
Thank you. And members, as Ms. Calra indicated, the comments that the Board of Equalization staff had were received and integrated into the bill. The bill is also supported by the California Assessors Association and the Riverside Sheriff's Association, as well as another number of nonprofit agencies, and including Cal nonprofits. So I will go ahead and make a motion that we support SB 420. And I'd love to take a second. Mr. Emron,
A second, with the question too, Madam Chair, if that's okay.
please.
This is a question for the Board of Equalization staff. If SB 420 passes, what is the process by which the BOE would revoke or modify existing OCC clearance for the affected for-profit detention operators, and what notice and appeals rights would these operators have?
Thank you, Deputy Director Deputy Controller Emron. For the record, my name is David Young. I'm the Deputy Director of the Property Tax Department. So if this bill passes, the board actually does do periodic recertifications of entities that were granted these OCCs. They would fall within that review, and we would take a look and see the formative documents, and we will review their application.
So if revoked, they have a right to appeal within
do.
a certain amount of time?
Yes.
And that appeal comes before the board?
Correct.
Okay. My other question would be, have we identified how many for-profit detention facilities are in California that are currently holding an OCC clearance?
As of right now, we've only been able to identify one. There are many private detention centers, but we've only been able to find one incident where they're actually holding a OCC and being exempt from property taxation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, other comments? Mr. Vasquez?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, for bringing this forward. And David, while you're standing up, I have a quick question for you. You said we've identified one OCC
Yes.
So far. That one, do we know if they are following all the rules in terms of being transparent and allowing public access? Because it's my understanding some of them, and you mentioned there's several of these, and I guess if they're privately run, I guess we have no authority over them, basically.
Yes, as you well know, the welfare exemption is a bifurcated program within the state of California. We look at the formative documents and whether the entity itself qualifies. The actual enforcement of the actual use of the property, that falls upon the county assessor in which county that property falls into. So if there's a use in there that is not consistent with what the formative documents say they're doing with it, it's their duty and responsibility to check.
But in terms of monitoring or making sure that they're in compliance,
Right.
is that on us or the county?
It's on the county, sir.
On the county.
Yes.
Because I know, and I don't know if the rep is still online with Senator Padilla, but I think he originally came up with this idea because I know several electeds, not only here in California, but at the federal level as well, were trying to visit some of these facilities and just to check and see how they're being run and weren't given access. And then I didn't realize that maybe it's this one, and there's probably others, but that are privately run, that are being very restrictive and are not allowing, even though I could see, the public just dropping in, but elected officials having the opportunity to observe and see how they're treating these folks.
Indeed, I've seen those.
And the fact that there is one, at least, that's getting the benefit from this, that's my real concern, is that if they're qualifying for an exemption, they should be, one, transparent, and two, be very accessible to the public.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to comment? Thank you, Mr. Young. And we can move to public comment now. And we do not have comment cards from the auditorium, nor have we received any written comments. And so we'll go to the AT&T moderator. And moderator, if you could please let us know if there's anyone holding on the line who would like to make a comment on item 6.
Ladies and gentlemen on the phone lines, if you'd like to make a comment, please press 1 then 0. Once again, for comments on the phone lines, please press 1 then 0. And one moment, please, for your first comment.
Leo would like that.
First comment, please.
One moment while we gather the information for your first commenter.
Thank you.
And you have a comment from Robert Minville. Please go ahead.
Good morning. This is Robert Minville, Imperial County Assessor. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, honorable members. I am the assessor in Imperial County, and we have been dealing with the Imperial Valley Gateway Center, also known as the Regional Detention Center, here since my entire term, and it started when my predecessor was finishing his term. And so we review the applications. I just want to give you a little background. When I first came in, we questioned whether this facility should receive an OCC, Organizational Clearance Certificate, and we did send that request for a legal opinion to the Board of Equalization, County Assessed Property, and we did receive a opinion dated August 12th, 2015, basically stating that they did qualify, the nonprofit underlying owner did qualify. And since then, we have been receiving their applications, reviewing them. We have been inspecting the facility. Most recently, a few weeks ago, 2 of our staff were requested and were an appointment and were granted access to walk through the facility, and they found it to be clean and safe and well maintained. They did not talk to any of the detainees there, so I can't speak to how they're being treated. But so we have done our due diligence on our part to make sure that the intended use of that facility, as it was qualified under the OCC, was done, and we did our due diligence to make sure that they qualified for the exemption. I do want to say that the owners do pay some property taxes. There's excess land there that's not being used for the as part of the detention or detainee housing facility that they're paying property taxes on. They're also paying a county service area assessment for water and sewer. That's an annual assessment, direct charge. And they're paying some direct charges on solid waste and mosquito abatement. So it's not zero taxes they're paying some, but their most recent exemption for an assessment of 76,142,783 land and improvements. We did apply an exemption of 61,802,380. So they are receiving a substantial reduction in property assessment because of this. Having said that, well, I wanted to let you know that the California Assessor Association supports Senator Padilla's bill. I want to thank the leadership of our organization, Joaquin Torres, our chair of our legislative committee, and Kristen DePaul, our president of our association, for taking this on, and I was included in the discussions. And I did ask them, also Los Angeles County Assessor Jeff Prang, for his staff doing the research on it. I encouraged them. I asked them to take a support position, and we did. On the 12th of June, the executive board of the CAA did vote to support this. I also want to let you know that the Imperial County Board of Supervisors yesterday voted 5-0 to support Senator Padilla's bill, and they will be sending a letter to the Assembly Appropriations Committee at the end of this week. And so I personally, as the assessor, I support Senator Padilla's bill, and I told him that at a town hall meeting last Thursday when he was here in El Centro. And this gives us, as assessors, clarification. This has been a sometimes impossible situation to be in, where we're looking at an organization that we're questioning how can they be exempt when we're for a welfare exemption that's intended for churches and museums and libraries and hospitals and scientific uses. But when I read the legal opinion, I see that it's been laid out, and then our part of it as assessors is we need to determine whether it's being used as intended. And so we welcome this clarification. As I told Senator Padilla, we always want to eliminate gray areas, or try to eliminate the gray areas in the law. And this is not a change in the law, but it is, I see it as clarification. It will not place additional burden on us, but it will give us a clear understanding of going forward of how we're going to treat these exemptions when they come through our office. So I thank you for your time, and I hope to see you all soon, especially you, Member Schaefer. I hope to see you before the end of your term in person. Thank you.
And Assessor, if you would please hold on, we have a question from our Vice Chair, please.
Yeah, thank you, Assessor Menzel. I just want a clarification, because I've also heard of situations for faith-based organizations that they've got to be very careful on, let's say they have facilities and they're letting, let's say, another party that is not a nonprofit use it. Isn't that disallowed?
Yes, we have, that's part of the inspection process, to send an appraiser out and to determine, is the entire facility being used for the purpose that's intended. And oftentimes, let's say often, but sometimes we find that a portion of the property is being used for another purpose. A church, for example, that may have a Sunday school facility, but during the week they lease that to someone for a daycare center 5 days a week. Well, all of a sudden that doesn't qualify, or that operator that's leasing that, they don't qualify. So part of that would have to be carved out by the local assessor's office, and they would no longer be eligible for the exemption.
Okay, so would is this scenario similar?
Well, yes, we carved out the excess land. Back in 2013, when they purchased the land, they purchased more land than they needed for the phase. I'm just assuming they were going to phase in their buildings and possibly look at expanding in the future. And so they bought excess land. Well, not all of it is being used for the detainee housing project. So that excess land, we're assessing that, and they're paying property taxes on that.
Okay. All right, so this just clarifies that, that the welfare tax exemption does not apply, right? So if it's for a different use, it doesn't apply.
Yeah.
That's not nonprofit
Or that,
related.
yeah. Well, I want to make sure I understand the question. You said if part of the property is being used for a purpose other than what the OCC was intended, then, we would have to carve that out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's what they have excess land. It's not being used for detention facility. They bought excess land. That part of it, we are assessing them property taxes on. Assessing them, and they're paying property taxes on it.
Okay.
It's all one parcel. It's one assessor's parcel.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Very good, thank you.
And I think we have a question from Mr. Schaefer.
Well, I just wanted to thank my assessor from Imperial for calling in, and he's been, I think, 12 years with the assessor's office, and he's a leader in the statewide assessors organization. I see him at conventions. I just want to thank him for his service. When I was down last to visit with him, we went to a rodeo, which was a very popular event there, and to one or more of the service clubs where he's well recognized. And we took a long ride along the border, saw the Border Patrol in action, and could see Mexico on one side of the street. He's been really a very good person to have in the job, and I want to commend him for all he's doing, and I'm so pleased that he just won re-election for another term. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Assessor, for being here with us today. And we'll check in with our AT&T operator to see if there are other callers on the line.
If you have a comment to make, please press 1, then 0. And no one is queuing up at this time.
Okay, thank you. So members, we have a motion by myself, seconded by Mr. Vasquez, and we'll go ahead and ask Mr. Cuddy to please call the roll.
I just want to correct the record. I believe the second was Mr. Emron.
Oh, I'm sorry, that is right. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. I'll call the roll then. Chair Lieber,
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines,
Aye?
Member Vasquez,
Aye.
Member Schaefer,
Aye?
Deputy Controller Emron.
Aye.
Okay, members, the item passes unanimously, and we'll go on now to item 7 under Board Member Matters. This is Mr. Vasquez's item requesting support for AB 2089 by Mr. Ward, property taxation and welfare exemption filing of claims. Mr. Vasquez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we need to call the item, or can I just go right into it?
We just did call it.
We don't need to get into the description of it at this point?
No, you can go ahead and open.
Okay. Thank you, members. We're going to have some discussion, and it's my understanding that we may have lost the Assemblymember Ward, but we have his staff on the line right now to make a presentation, at least on Teams. And I wanted to thank Chair for agreeing to put this on. We have 2 speakers. The first one will be the staff person for Assemblymember Ward. I believe his name is Severio Riso Llamas. And the second one is in-house here with us today, Mr. Paul Schaefer of the California Council of Affordable Housing. one of the sponsors of the bill. So let me go ahead and start with the member, or I guess it's a staff person. Severio, are you on the line on Teams? I see your face. Here we go. Let me let you go ahead and introduce the bill, and then we'll have Mr. Paul Schaefer come on and give his comments, and then we'll open it up to my colleagues. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Board Member. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Silverio Rizoyamas. I'm a senior legislative assistant with the Office of Assemblymember Chris Ward. And on behalf of Assemblymember Chris Ward, just want to thank you for the opportunity to present AB 2089, which makes really measured but meaningful modifications to the welfare exemption filing process. The welfare exemption exemption, as you all know, improves project feasibility for eligible affordable housing developers by supporting long-term affordability and financial stability for long-term Californians. Assemblyman Ward has authored previous legislation concerning the welfare exemption, including AB 2353, which allowed an eligible affordable housing developer to conserve valuable affordable housing dollars by withholding property taxes once they've been filed for the exemption. AB 2089 supports affordable housing access by ensuring adequate time to complete the annual filing process by requiring that all necessary forms are released by November 15th each year. This bill would ensure that eligible organizations have time to complete the time-intensive process of collecting signatures to recertify tenant incomes. Also, to modernize the filing process and reduce administrative strain, AB 2089 would authorize the county assessor to collect verified electronic signatures. AB 2089 also extends the sunset for an existing authorization for tenant incomes and low-income housing tax credit properties to increase up to 100% of the area median income without disqualifying the unit from the exemption. Extending the sunset by 1 year aligns it with the sunset date for tenant incomes and non-light tech properties to increase up to 100% of AMI. Just this morning, Mr. Ward was able to present AB 2089 before the Senate Rev and Tax Committee, and it will now be referred to the Senate Appropriations for fiscal review. Assemblymember Ward really appreciates your thoughtful engagement with the bill and respectfully requests your support.
Thank you. Let me have Mr. Paul Schaefer, who's here in the audience, come up and give his comments, and then we'll open it up to my colleagues.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Schaefer, and I'm the Public Policy Manager with the California Council for Affordable Housing. We're the proud co-sponsors of AB 2089 with Assemblymember Chris Ward. CCAH represents the full spectrum of the affordable housing industry, from tax credit investors and lenders to developers and long-term property managers, serving communities across California. Collectively, our members own and operate approximately 350,000 affordable units statewide, housing some of our most vulnerable residents, including seniors, families, and individuals with disabilities. California's Constitution recognizes that certain uses, such as charitable, religious, and nonprofit activities, serve a broader public good and should be exempt from property taxation. Affordable housing that serves low-income Californians falls squarely within this intent. For our members, the welfare property tax exemption is not simply a benefit, it is a foundational component of the financial structure that makes these homes possible. The value of the exemption varies by property, but the savings are often substantial, frequently reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars annually for large developments. These are not excess funds. These are reinvested directly into property operations, resident services, capital repairs, and long-term preservation. In many cases, this exemption is what allows properties to remain financially viable and while keeping rents deeply affordable for residents. Research from UC Berkeley's Turner Center highlights the exemption's critical role in improving project feasibility, attracting investments, and enabling both the production of new housing and the preservation of existing units. In a high-cost state like California, where operating margins are already tight, even short-term increases in operating expenses can disrupt budgets, delay maintenance, or in worst cases, threaten a property's long-term stability. Despite its importance, the current exemption process is outdated and creates significant administrative challenges. AB 2089 makes targeted common sense updates to modernize this process. When an essential system like this becomes inefficient, the burden simply does not disappear. It shifts onto our nonprofit partners and ultimately affects the residents they serve. Today, the annual certification and filing process is an extraordinarily resource-intensive process. Between the 1st of January and February 15th, property management staff are required to focus almost exclusively on compliance. For many organizations, this equates to more than a full workday every day over a 6-week period, often requiring evening and weekend work just to meet statutory deadlines. This diverts staff from the core responsibilities like property management, maintenance coordination, and staff and resident support services. The most significant bottleneck in collecting tenants' wet signatures on required affidavit is collecting the tenant signatures on affidavits. Because forms are not currently distributed before the 1st of January, providers are forced to operate within a compressed timeline. Staff must coordinate with hundreds of residents, many with varying schedules, language needs, or accessibility challenges, to complete and return documentations within a 6-week period. This can be especially difficult for seniors, residents with disabilities, or those working multiple jobs. Additionally, the tight timeframe can create confusion and discomfort for tenants, some of whom are hesitant to sign forms under pressure or without sufficient time to review and ask questions. In some cases, this leads to delays or incomplete filings, further increasing administrative strain. AB 2089 addresses these issues in a thoughtful and practical way by allowing earlier distribution of these documents and by permitting electronic verified signatures. These updates bring the process in line with modern administrative practices that are used both across the public and private sectors. By extending the timeline and introducing flexibility, this bill would significantly reduce administrative burden, improve compliance rates, and create a better experience for both the housing providers and the residents. Importantly, this allows staff to focus more of their time on what matters most, maintaining safe, stable housing, and supporting residents. And finally, AB 2089 also extends the sunset for the low-income housing tax credit properties to remain eligible for the welfare tax exemption when tenants' income modestly increases up to 140% of the area median income. This provision reflects the realities of upward mobility and helps maintain stability of both residents and housing providers. Aligning this extension with related sunset dates promotes greater consistency and predictability with existing policy. In short, AB 2089 modernizes a critical process, strengthens the effectiveness of the constitutionally grounded exemption, protects limited nonprofit resources, and reinforces the long-term stability of affordable housing across California. For these reasons, CCAH respectfully asks for your support on AB 2089 today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you both for your comments and your presentation. As we look for ways to improve the efficiency of both the welfare exemption process, we have to be mindful of the budgetary, and I think we talked a little bit about this, limits both on the state and the local levels. And this bill tries to balance these two interests. And as we're looking at this, the cost, this is, I guess, a modest cost, or minimal, I should say, associated with them moving forward. I have one question before I open it up to my colleagues, and that is, what kind of inconsistencies have you encountered regarding the acceptance of electronic signatures across California counties?
So they're currently under the members that I've worked with in my organization. There's obviously 58 counties, but not all of them work in all 58. So I'm aware of only 2 counties that currently accept electronic signatures. Really what this bill does is it kind of further allows, I think, more of a signaling to the counties to say that this is really where we would like to get to. And from the perspective of the affordable housing industry, it really is something that we'd see as a great benefit, not only to the property management teams, but also to the residents we serve. So just in terms of the inconsistencies, we only see 2 counties that allow it, and then other counties that we have sought to try to see if there's any sort of reform we could find in this process. And I think kind of to your point about some of those budgetary constraints, that's kind of where we're at now. But I think this bill does that signaling to say that we'd like to get to that point in modernizing this process.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Look, I see a couple hands. Let me go with our Deputy Controller.
Thank you, Member Vasquez. Appreciate you bringing this forward. I understand that it went from mandatory electronic signatures to authorized, and everybody, all the parties are okay with that language, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if I could just add a little bit more to that, I think that kind of speaks to Member Vasquez's point about the budgetary constraints, just given what we're seeing at the county level, but also across the state. Again, we'd like to get to that point where every county allows the electronic submission of forms, but I think we're just not there yet. But this is the right move in the right direction.
Member Schaefer?
Mr. Schaefer, are you related to David Letterman's music director?
No, but I've gotten that all my life, so thank you for asking.
And where is Assemblyman Ward today? He's my assemblyman.
So Assemblymember Ward was actually presenting on this same bill in Senate Rev and Tax, almost at the exact same time. So we were kind of double scheduling him today.
Well, tell him Mike Schaefer says hello.
I will tell him the other Schaefer says hello.
Okay, great. Vice Chair.
Go ahead.
So it sounds like the bill is crafted in such a way for smaller counties I represent.
Say that one more time, I'm so sorry.
I represent 34 counties in my district, a lot of which are very small and rural and don't have much of a budget. So this is optional, right, in terms of the way the legislation is crafted. If they don't have the money, I think those are the points you were making, that they would not be required to move forward with this.
Correct. Into the Deputy Controller's question, it was originally mandatory, and then through the amendments with the opposition to this, it was amended down to being authorized rather than mandatory.
Wonderful. And I guess another angle would be if funding was available, that might be an opportunity for modernizing some of these smaller counties.
To assist, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else, or are we good?
I think we're good, so we'd like to take
I
a
would just
motion.
move, we just moved that we support AB 2089.
Okay.
Second.
And seconded by Mr. Emron. We will go ahead and go out for public comment. We have no written comments, nor anyone else who submitted a speaker card. So we'll go to the AT&T moderator. Moderator, if you would please let us know if there's anyone on the line who would like to make a comment on item 7.
For comments on the phone lines, please press 1, then 0. And at this time, no one is queuing up.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and there's been a motion by Mr. Vasquez, seconded by Mr. Emron. So we'll ask Ms. Cicchetti to please call the roll.
Chair Lieber?
Aye.
Vice Chair Gaines?
Aye.
Member Vasquez?
Aye.
Member Schaefer?
Aye.
Deputy Controller Emron?
Aye.
Okay, great. Members, that is unanimous and support. Our next item is our closed session. And I know that we're a little bit behind time here. We'll ask our executive officer, is the best thing to do to go into the closed session now? And I'm getting several affirmations of that. So we will go to our closed session and take items 8 and 9, referring to pending litigation. And our closed session will occur in room 142. So we'll go in there, and that will be followed by our 1-hour lunch. So we'll expect to be back here by about 1:30 or so. So if there are folks who are hoping to catch a certain item, that's generally the time frame. So we'll go ahead and recess now and reconvene in 1:42.
Yeah, the way that, we have to go to, to the public comment before we go into closed session.
Thank you for that reminder. We haven't received written comments.
I can continue, for you, yes. We haven't
Please.
received any public comments on this item, and there's no one in the auditorium who's coming forward on this. So let's go to the AT&T moderator. Moderator, is there anyone on the line who'd like to make a public comment regarding closed session?
If you would like to make a comment, please press 1, then 0. And no one is queuing up.
Thank you, moderator.
Okay, so we will now recess and reconvene with the board in room 142. Mr. Schaefer, did you have a question?
It's not clear to me what business the public would have on whether we go to closed session or content of closed session. That, by very definition, is limited to ourselves.
Well, our deliberations are limited, but the public does have a right to put in comments beforehand. And so that's what we've now given them the opportunity to do and fulfilled our responsibility as far as that. So we'll recess now at this time and reconvene for our closed session in room 142, which will be followed by a 1-hour lunch. Thank you.